It starts as a bag of tiny plastic pellets and ends up filling the room with music. This is how a vinyl record is made. Right now, you can carry 50 million songs in your pocket, and yet every year, millions of people still line up to buy music carved into plastic. In the United States, vinyl records now outsell CDs, in the 2020s, not the 1980s. Records aren't just surviving the streaming age, they're quietly thriving in it. But have you ever wondered how music actually gets inside that black disc? There's no chip, no laser, no digital code hiding in there. A vinyl record is a physical sculpture of sound, and today, we'll watch it being carved. Look closely at any record, and you'll see thousands of fine lines circling the surface. But here's the twist. It isn't thousands of lines at all. Each side is one single groove, an unbroken spiral winding from the edge to the center. Stretched out straight, that spiral would run for roughly half a kilometer. Inside the groove, tiny wiggles in the walls store every note of the music. Louder sounds carve wider wiggles. Higher notes carve tighter, faster ones. To understand how those wiggles get there, we start long before any plastic shows up. Every record begins in a quiet room called a mastering studio. An engineer takes the finished album and fine-tunes it especially for vinyl. Deep bass and sharp highs are carefully balanced because the groove has physical limits. Push the bass too hard and the needle can literally jump out of the groove. Then the music goes to a machine that looks like a record player's evil twin, the cutting lathe. Instead of a vinyl disc, the lathe holds a shiny aluminum plate coated in soft lacquer. And instead of a needle that reads, it carries a sapphire blade that writes. The sapphire stylus is gently heated, and it vibrates with the music as the disc spins. As it vibrates, it carves the song into the lacquer as one long spiral groove, in real time. Cutting a 20-minute side takes exactly 20 minutes. There is no fast forward. The engineer watches the fresh groove through a microscope while the music is still being cut. A thin thread of waste lacquer curls off the blade and is sucked away by a small vacuum. When the side is finished, this fragile lacquer disc holds the only copy of the groove on Earth. It's far too soft to survive real playing, so it's rushed straight to the next step. The lacquer arrives in a plating room, where things get surprisingly scientific. First, it's rinsed clean and sprayed with a fine mist of liquid silver. That whisper-thin silver coat makes the whole surface electrically conductive. Then, the silver disc is lowered into a warm bath filled with dissolved nickel. Electric current flows, and nickel atoms slowly pile onto the silver, layer by layer. Hours later, a solid metal plate is carefully peeled away from the lacquer. This plate, called the father, is a perfect negative, with ridges where the grooves were. From the father, the same trick is repeated to grow a positive copy, the mother. The mother has real grooves, so engineers can actually play it and hunt for flaws. And from the mother, the factory grows the final tools of the trade, the stampers. A stamper is a tough nickel negative, built to press its pattern into plastic thousands of times. One stamper for side A, one for side B, and now the pressing plant takes over. Meanwhile, the star ingredient arrives in sacks, tiny pellets of PVC plastic. Fresh PVC pellets aren't black at all. They're pale and almost see-through. Records are black because carbon black is mixed in. It toughens the plastic and fights static. For colored editions, pigments take its place, turning the mix red, gold, or marbled like paint. The pellets pour into an extruder, where heat and pressure melt them into a thick paste. The machine squeezes out a warm, soft lump about the size of a hockey puck. In the trade, this little lump has a delicious nickname, the biscuit. While the biscuits are forming, the paper labels get an odd treatment of their own. They're baked in an oven first to drive out every trace of moisture. Skip the baking, and trapped steam would make the labels bubble and wrinkle in the press. No glue is ever used. The press will fuse the labels straight into the hot vinyl. Now everything meets inside the hydraulic press. The two nickel stampers are mounted top and bottom, like a giant metal waffle iron. One label goes under the biscuit, and another goes on top. The press closes with around 100 tons of force, while steam heats the molds. For about 30 seconds, the soft vinyl flows outward, filling every microscopic wiggle of the groove. One squeeze, half a minute, and a lump of plastic becomes an entire album. Cold water then rushes through the molds, freezing the grooves permanently in place. The press opens, and a brand new record emerges, with a rough, ragged rim. That ring of squeezed-out vinyl, called flash, is trimmed away in one clean spin. The trimmings aren't wasted. Many plants grind them up and melt them into new biscuits. Fresh records are still warm and slightly soft, so they can't just be tossed in a box. They're stacked on spindles under weight and left to cool slowly and perfectly flat. Rush this step, and you create vinyl's mortal enemy, the warped record. Then comes quality control, where human ears still beat any machine. Inspectors check the shine, the edges, and the grooves under bright light. Random copies are pulled from the line and played from start to finish. They listen for pops, clicks, skips, and any hiss that shouldn't be there. If a test copy fails, the whole batch can be melted down and pressed again. The survivors slide into paper inner sleeves, then into the printed jacket. Album art is half the magic. A big square canvas you get to hold in both hands. A tight skin of shrink wrap seals everything, and the boxes roll out to record shops. And then, one day, the needle finally drops. A tiny diamond tip settles into the groove and begins to ride the wiggles. Those vibrations become electricity. The electricity becomes sound, and the room fills with music. The needle presses down with roughly the weight of a couple of paper clips, nothing more. Every sound you hear was carved by that heated sapphire blade weeks or months earlier. From a bag of pale pellets to a black spiral of music you can hold, that's the whole journey. And now you know exactly how it's made. Now it's your turn. What should we build next? Drop it in the comments. The most liked idea becomes our next video. See you there.